Hi class, today I'm going to show you how to make a beautiful web page. It's not going to be too overly complex, but it's going to take you a little bit of time. Now this is going to be the first in a series of several web pages that you're going to build. And we're going to start worrying about how these look, and let's make something fairly beautiful. These are going to be for desktop only. We're not going to test them on small devices. That would be another lesson. We could come back and navigate these so they will work on small devices in time. But for today's lesson, this will probably take a little more than a day for you to write, but I'll try to knock it out fairly quick. So I'm going to open up a Codio assignment, and I have a speech folder. That's going to be the first thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a picture of Martin Luther King Jr. and a quote that is one of my favorite quotes by him, and I'm going to put them together on a web page that looks kind of artistic. You could, I'd like it if you could take some socially aware quote and attach it to a figure. If you can do it with Black Lives Matter movement and in that theme, that would be my preference. Although if you would like to take your creative space in a different direction, just talk to me, and any direction you'd like to go would be acceptable. But I would like to make a small plea for a Black Lives Matter space. So I'm going to take this quote, I'm going to take this picture, and I'm going to make it so the quote appears on this picture as you mouse over. So it won't be visible, and then as you mouse over, it will be. And I think it will look nice. And it will be meaningful. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say a new file. So it's going to be index.html. And once it starts, use that shortcut. So this is only an excerpt, but I figured that would be a nice title. And what I need to do is I need to get an image. And I need to get text. Now I'm going to break the text up into a couple of different div tags, but I'm going to say div class equals quote. And then I'm going to put div tags inside of it. I'm going to say class equals sentence. Sorry. Div class equals sentence. And here, I don't know if sentence is the right thing, but I'm gonna put several of them. So we've got a quote, and we've got some sentences, and we've got an image. Now, I would like to put the image in my speech folder. So I'm going to say File, New Folder, call it the IMG folder. And so now what I need to do is come to this picture, and I'm going to, once it loads, I'm going to grab the picture and put it on my, save it on my desktop. And you normally want a fairly big one. This one's 1000 by 600 pixels. And then I'm going to come back to Codio, and I'm going to upload browse from files. And open. I'm going to close. And so now I have that image. I'm going to rename the image to a name that's easier. I'll just name it king.jpg. And then I'm going to call this king. So it's not in the same folder. It's in the IMG folder. And then what I can do is I can say, let's preview what this page looks like. And there's a picture of Dr. King and nothing else because I haven't put anything else in yet. So now what I want to do is I want to come back to the quote. I'm going to copy the whole quote first. So copy, just so I don't have to go back and forth. Where am I? And so I'm going to paste it right there. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to group chunks together. So this first sentence will be here. Second sentence, and I might break this one up just because it's a little bit long. Actually, I'm gonna put this one here. And the next fragment goes here. And what the end result is going to be, each sentence piece will, as you mouse over, will show up, and the other pieces will remain dark, so you have to mouse over. And the last one will go, get rid of that quote. And now when we refresh the page, we get Dr. King, and then we've got the sentences underneath. And I'm going to say tools, and there's a Beautify tool, and that just makes sure everything's indented nicely. So we've got the quotes, and we don't need these last two sentences. Now I need to add some CSS. So let me just I just copied this from another web page of mine, so I didn't have to write it. And I'll call it speech.css. Then I need to make a new file called speech.css. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say I want the image to be width 100 VW, and I want Y overflow Y to be hidden. And what that does is it makes this full screen in the width, and if we make the page narrower, it's not going to scroll. It's just going to be the full page. And so now when I hit refresh, it should work. Now, the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say body. I'm going to say background color. I'm going to make the whole thing black. And I'm going to make all the text. That's all I'm going to do there. And so we've got that. Now, the problem I have here is I want to make the body have overflow Y hidden because it was still scrolling. And so I'm saying, no, I don't want any scrolling. So now it doesn't scroll at all. Now the text is underneath. And I'm going to say overflow X is also hidden. Just because I do have a little bit of a scroll happening left and right. And so now there's no scrolling. It's just a page. And as I make the page smaller or bigger, it scales with me. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to make the text, and the text is in this quote. So I'm going to say, for right now, while I'm testing this, I'm going to say So the quote is a class, so it's dot quote. And your last assignment we were doing IDs, and that would be pound ID. But I'm going to say the color of the text is going to be white. I'm not going to keep it that way. And then I'm going to say the position is absolute. And what that's going to do is that's going to make it so it doesn't sit below. It's just going to be wherever I put it. I'm going to say the top is going to be 0 pixels. And that should put the text right up here. And hopefully, and it absolutely does. Now I don't want it to go all the way across. I want it to go part of the way across. So I'm going to give it a width. I'm going to give the width 50 VWs. So the text goes about halfway across the page. That looks pretty good. I want to get a different font in there, so I'm going to open up Google Fonts. I'm going to find a font that I like. And I just want like a simple font. This one will do. I want it to be bold enough. Here, I'll select this one. And then I choose Embed, Import, and I copy the style. I don't copy the tag because they're going in my styles file. So now I can come to my speech.css. At the very top, I'm importing that font. Then I'm grabbing the font itself to say where I want it. Now, oops, wrong one. And I want that in the quote. So all the quote will now have this new font. And when I hit refresh, it's looking a little bit better. And now what I want to do is I want to put a little bit of padding between the quotes. So I'm going to say dot sentence, because those are where my sentences are, and I'm going to say padding. And yeah, I'll just say padding 5 pixels. Come back and look, hit refresh, and so then we have a little bit of padding in between each block of stuff. I'm actually going to make it maybe a little bit more, 10 pixels. And I'm going to hit refresh. There, and that looks good to me. I like what's happening there. Now, when I make it small, it does go off the bottom of the page. But again, I'm not working on making this for mobile devices, so it's going to be this way. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to where I made the color white, and I'm going to make it color, now pound 000 would be black. That's no red, no green, and no blue. Pound FFF would be straight up white. So I want to make it very dark. So I'll make it 111. I do want it slightly visible. And I can't see it there, so let me make it 333. And I'm just going to go back and forth and test it until it's dark. Okay, now it's dark. And then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to say, when you hover over it, I want it to turn white. So quote, and you say :hover means when you hover over something, it's going to change its properties. I'm going to say color white. I'm also going to now say, and then if we look at it, when you hover over, you'll see it turns white. Oh, that's not where I wanted it. I didn't want it for quote, I want it for sentence. So each sentence, when you hover over each sentence separately, it will turn white. So boom, 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 boom. Then what I would like to do is I'd like to make that feel a little smoother. So I'm going to say, we're going to do transition duration. I'm going to make that 2 seconds. It's going to kind of be, no, we'll make it 1 second. It's going to be a slow duration. And then sentence going back, I'm going to say 3 seconds. So it'll take a little bit longer to fade back. Hit refresh. and boom, 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 boom. And we've got a nice looking web page that I think has a beautiful quote, and I think it's well done. If we make the web page smaller, it still works pretty nicely. If you make it too small, it will flow off the bottom of the page, and I'm gonna be okay with that right now. Yeah, so that's your assignment. You're gonna get the rest of today and at minimum of tomorrow, maybe even one more day. As you have questions, I hope you explore different opportunities and take this beyond what I'm showing you right here with some creative ideas. Thank you and enjoy.